Sir.
More impure.
Has he called me? Oh, thank you, Mr. Speaker. I couldn't hear.
Well, I had a bit of trouble hearing the member too. She needs to speak up when she's calling.
Righto, Mr. Speaker. My colleague Brett Hudson hit the nail on the head today when he talked about this country's economic performance under this national government. The best way to ensure that New Zealand can continue to support our most vulnerable children is to ensure that we can continue to fund adequately their families, along with the agencies, the services and the networks that work to support them, Mr. Speaker. National is a strong steward of the Crown's finances and focuses on growing the economy, and that has seen outstanding results. Our economy has grown a further 3.6 to June this year, putting us in the top 4 in the OECD. The average annual wage is now $58,000, an increase of 25% since this national government took over in 2008. 300,000 more jobs have been created since the financial crisis. And inflation, wait for it, 0.2%, well below the average wage increase of 2%. 2 years of surpluses, Mr. Speaker, this year achieving $1.8 billion. Government debt is now less than 25% of GDP, and mortgage interest rates are remaining lower for longer, unlike in 2008 when they reached nearly 11%. And I think the biggest telling point, Mr. Speaker, is that more Kiwis are coming home and staying home. Mr. Speaker, the life outcomes for young people in care are simply not good enough, and we know that. That's why, as part of national social investment, young people will no longer be cut loose when they turn 17. None of us as parents would do that to our own children, and we won't do it to our most vulnerable. Instead, they will have the right to remain or return to care up until they are 21, and they will have transition support and advice available until they are 25. And, Mr. Speaker, there are very good reasons why this level of support is needed for so long. The brains of children experiencing high levels of stress, such as those experienced in family violence situations, poor nutrition or constant levels of fear, those brains actually look different and perform differently than those in children who are brought up and cared for in a loving and safe environment. Acute stress prevents memory storage, and this in turn makes learning a terrible challenge. Children living in a constant state of stress develop a brain that has been distracted by the fight-flight syndrome, and so it short-circuits its functions like self-control, impulse control, memory and reasoning, the very skills essential to successful learning, Mr. Speaker. Early intervention and wraparound services for those children and their families is absolutely essential. The sooner that child can enjoy a safe, loving environment, whether that be by providing support to the family or whether that is removing the child to a safe environment, the sooner that repair work can begin. By staying committed to the young people up until the age of 25, this national-led government is addressing the long-term trauma and poor life outcomes they would otherwise be destined to. This investment approach, Mr. Speaker, provides the stability and security that those young people need. They deserve the financial, emotional and accommodation support which will allow them to grow mentally and emotionally strong so that they can lead independent, successful and productive lives. We are breaking the cycle, Mr. Speaker, because we believe in the potential of every single one of our young people. I would like to pay tribute to the health professionals in DHBs, PHOs and NGOs who are currently supporting children and their families and who will play an important role going forward. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Members, the time for this debate has expired.